A Marine was outnumbered in an alley, and one move turned the odds completely in his favor. In the heart of the city, where the bright lights often cast long shadows, a seemingly ordinary alley became the stage for an extraordinary confrontation. The air was thick with tension, and the familiar sounds of urban life faded into a haunting silence. Picture this: a decorated Marine, a man forged in the fires of combat, finds himself cornered by a group of intimidating figures. They are loud, brash, and clearly out for trouble, unaware that they are about to face someone who has stared down challenges far more daunting than their petty bravado. What drives a group of individuals to seek confrontation in the shadows? Is it the thrill of dominance or a misguided sense of power? As the Marine stands there, the weight of his past experiences and the fierce loyalty to his comrades surge within him. He knows all too well the stakes of this moment. The alley, a place meant for fleeting encounters, transforms into a battleground where courage and strategy clash against ignorance and aggression. But there's more than meets the eye here. This Marine isn't just a soldier. He's a guardian of values that run deeper than mere physical confrontation. His training, his discipline, and the lessons learned in the heat of battle are about to come into play in a way none of these bullies could anticipate. With every heartbeat, he assesses the situation, calculating his next move with precision. Imagine the scene. The alley is dimly lit, the smell of concrete mixing with the faint scent of rain. The bullies, emboldened by their numbers, inch closer, their laughter ringing hollow against the backdrop of the Marine's steadfast resolve. But what will happen when he makes his move? Will he unleash the training he has honed over years? Or will he find a way to turn the tide without resorting to violence? This isn't just a story about a fight. It's about the indomitable spirit that resides in those who refuse to be victims. It's about the unexpected twists that life can throw at us and how we can rise to meet them. As the tension builds, you won't want to miss how this Marine flips the script and changes the narrative in a matter of seconds. If you like this type of stories, make sure to comment from where you're hearing this, and also, if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe now. This is the best way to help our work and this type of news reach more people. As we delve deeper into this gripping tale, we'll explore the motivations behind each character, the emotions that fuel their actions, and the lessons that emerge from this confrontation. What does it truly mean to stand your ground? What lengths will one go to protect their dignity and honor? Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this story, revealing the heart and grit that define not just the Marine, but all those who choose to stand firm against adversity. As we continue to unravel this captivating narrative, let's take a moment to delve deeper into the psyche of our Marine protagonist. This is a man who has faced the odds time and again, a soldier who has traversed the unpredictable terrains of foreign lands, where danger lurks behind every corner. His experiences have carved a deep sense of resilience within him, a steadfastness that refuses to buckle under pressure. But who is he beyond the uniform? His name is Corporal Jake Thompson, a Marine with a heart as fierce as his spirit. Growing up in a small town, Jake learned the values of hard work and determination from an early age. His father, a factory worker, instilled in him the importance of standing up for oneself and others. His mother, a schoolteacher, taught him empathy and the significance of community. These lessons shaped Jake's character, preparing him not only for the challenges of military life, but also for moments like the one he now faces in the alley. As he stands there, surrounded and outnumbered, memories flood his mind. His first day of boot camp, the camaraderie he built with his fellow Marines, and the sacrifices made by those who came before him. In this moment, the stakes extend beyond personal safety. They encompass the very essence of who he is. The courage he draws upon is not just a product of training. It's a mosaic of every life lesson he's learned, every bond he's forged, and every moment of triumph and despair. As the voices of his adversaries grow louder, threatening to shatter the fragile peace of the night, Jake's resolve hardens. He knows that every man has his breaking point, but he also understands that true strength comes from facing adversity head-on. Now, let's shift our focus to the group of troublemakers, whose bravado seems to fill the alley like smoke. Each one of them embodies a different facet of youthful recklessness, a cocktail of bravado and bravado. At the forefront is Tony, a self-proclaimed leader with an inflated sense of self-worth. His laughter is boisterous, echoing against the cold, hard walls of the alley, and his demeanor is a mask for deeper insecurities. Perhaps it's the pressure to impress his friends or the need to assert dominance in a world where he feels powerless. Tony's bravado is infectious, but it masks a vulnerability that he desperately tries to conceal. Beside him stands Marcus, a towering figure with a quiet intensity. Unlike Tony, Marcus is not one for words. His silence speaks volumes, creating an air of mystery. His friends often look to him for validation, seeking his approval before making reckless decisions. But as the confrontation escalates, even Marcus begins to question the path they've chosen. In the depths of his mind, he battles a conflict. Does he truly want this fight, or is he simply going along with the crowd? It's a question that may haunt him long after this night is over. Then there's Lily, the only female in the group, whose tough exterior often masks her own struggles. She tries to match the bravado of the boys, but deep down, she yearns for acceptance and belonging. Her laughter often feels forced, her bravado a shield against the insecurities that plague her. As she stands in the alley, watching the exchange between Jake and Tony, she senses a shift in the air. It's a moment of reckoning, where the thrill of the confrontation begins to wane, replaced by an unsettling realization that they may have underestimated the man they are up against. As Jake surveys the group, he sees the fear behind their bravado, the uncertainty that lurks in each of their eyes. It's a powerful moment of clarity for him. He recognizes that they are more than mere aggressors. They are young individuals seeking validation in a world that often feels unforgiving. With this understanding, Jake realizes that his role may not just be to defend himself, but to show them a different path, one that doesn't rely on aggression or intimidation. The atmosphere in the alley thickens as tension mounts, and time seems to slow. Each heartbeat echoes like a drum, and the sounds of the city fade into a distant hum. Jake's mind races, weighing his options. He knows he could easily engage in a physical confrontation. His training prepared him for that. Yet he also understands that true victory may lie in de-escalation. In a split-second decision, Jake takes a step forward, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "Listen," he calls out, his voice steady and commanding despite the circumstances. "I don't want any trouble. We can talk this out." His words resonate in the hollow space of the alley, momentarily catching the group off guard. They exchange glances, uncertain, as Jake continues. "I know what it's like to feel like you have to prove something, but this isn't the way." His sincerity disarms them, if only for a moment. There's a flicker of hesitation in Tony's eyes, a crack in the armor of bravado he wears. Marcus shifts his weight, the internal struggle evident on his face, and Lily's expression softens as she begins to see a different side of the confrontation. Jake's appeal to their humanity ignites a glimmer of possibility in the midst of chaos. But will this moment of clarity be enough to change the course of the night? As Jake stands poised between aggression and resolution, the alley holds its breath, waiting to see if the tide will turn. Will the group retreat from their aggressive posturing, or will they double down, blinded by pride and ego? This moment, steeped in uncertainty, becomes the crux of the confrontation, representing the larger themes of choice and consequence that resonate throughout the lives of all involved. As we analyze the complexities of this encounter, it becomes clear that what unfolds next will not only define Jake's evening, but will also leave an indelible mark on the lives of those who stand with him and against him. Stay tuned as we explore how this pivotal moment unfolds and what it means for each character involved, revealing the deeper lessons about courage, empathy, and the choices that shape our destinies. This is a story that goes beyond mere survival. It's about the transformative power of understanding and the impact of standing firm in the face of adversity. As Jake stands firm, the atmosphere around him begins to shift. The tension in the alley, thick and palpable just moments ago, now carries a hint of uncertainty. The laughter and bravado that once filled the air dissipate, replaced by a contemplative silence as Tony, Marcus, and Lily process Jake's unexpected offer of dialogue. It's a rare moment, a pause in a confrontation that could easily escalate into chaos. Each character, driven by their own motivations and desires, now finds themselves at a crossroads. Tony, the self-appointed leader of the group, feels the weight of Jake's steady gaze. It's not just the Marine's physical presence that is intimidating. It's the calm authority that emanates from him. Beneath the layers of bravado, Tony grapples with an unsettling realization. This is not just any opponent. Jake's demeanor challenges everything he thought he knew about power and dominance. For a moment, the bravado that usually fuels his actions falters, revealing the cracks in his facade. He hesitates, searching for words that might reassert his control over the situation. "Who do you think you are?" Tony finally retorts, but there's a noticeable tremor in his voice. The bravado sounds forced, as if he's trying to convince himself as much as Jake. The group looks to him for direction, but the uncertainty in his eyes is telling. He wants to maintain his image, but the weight of Jake's presence makes it increasingly difficult to cling to his bravado. Meanwhile, Marcus stands slightly behind Tony, his imposing figure still but visibly torn. He's always been the one to follow Tony, but the conflict within him is palpable. He can't shake the feeling that this confrontation is misplaced. The look on Jake's face, a mixture of strength and compassion, strikes a chord deep within him. Marcus has always been the silent observer, but in this moment he feels the urge to speak out. "Maybe we should just back off," he murmurs, his voice low but steady. This suggestion hangs in the air, an unexpected challenge to Tony's authority. Lily, watching the exchange unfold, feels a swell of emotion. The bravado she has often projected starts to crumble as she senses the vulnerability in the moment. She realizes that this confrontation isn't just about physical strength. It's about understanding and empathy. "I didn't sign up for this," she finally admits, her voice barely above a whisper, but her honesty reverberates through the alley. "We don't have to do this." The admission is a pivotal moment, and for the first time, she openly questions the reckless path they've chosen. Jake watches as the dynamics shift among the group. He can see the internal conflict writ large across their faces, and he seizes the opportunity to build on this moment of doubt. "You're right," he says, addressing them directly. "None of us need to be here, fighting like this. I'm not your enemy. I'm just a guy who believes we can resolve this without violence." His words resonate in ways he hadn't anticipated. The group's bravado, once a shield against their insecurities, begins to falter under the weight of Jake's sincerity. As the tension eases, the alley, once a potential battleground, starts to feel like a crossroads, a place where choices can be made that will impact their futures. Tony, still hesitant, grapples with the realization that this isn't just about him anymore. The laughter and bravado he once wielded like a weapon begin to feel hollow. He glances at his friends, searching for support, but he sees the uncertainty mirrored in their eyes. "So what? You think you can just talk us down?" He challenges, trying to regain his footing. Yet, even as he speaks, the challenge feels weak, lacking the conviction he once had. In that moment, Jake recognizes that this confrontation is not merely about physicality. It's a battle of wills, a clash of ideologies. He decides to take a different approach, one that might resonate with their shared humanity rather than their egos. "I know what it's like to feel lost," Jake continues, his tone softening. "I've been in situations where I felt like I had to prove myself, like everyone was watching, waiting for me to fail. But what I learned is that true strength comes from making the right choices, from standing up for what's right without resorting to violence." The power of his words begins to sink in, and the group grows quieter, reflecting on their own lives. Jake's vulnerability and authenticity create a bridge that begins to close the gap between them. He sees Marcus nod slightly, a flicker of understanding crossing the silent man's face. Jake feels a surge of hope. These young individuals are capable of change. Lily, encouraged by Jake's openness, steps forward. "We don't have to keep pretending," she says, her voice gaining strength. "We can be better than this. I felt pressure to act tough, to fit in, but I don't want to be part of something that makes me feel this way." For the first time, her voice rings with clarity, and the group starts to see her as more than just a girl trying to keep up with the boys. As the dialogue continues, Tony feels the ground shifting beneath him. The gang he once led is no longer the united front he envisioned. They are individuals grappling with their own fears and insecurities. I just wanted us to have a good time," he admits, the bravado slipping away. "I thought if we acted tough, we'd be respected." Jake nods, understanding the weight of those words. "Respect is earned through kindness and courage, not through fear," he replies. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You are enough as you are." The alley, once a place of confrontation, transforms into a space of reflection and dialogue. Each character begins to confront their own motivations, their desires for acceptance, and the choices that led them here. The realization that they are all human, flawed yet capable of growth, binds them together in an unexpected camaraderie. As Jake speaks, he becomes aware of the profound impact he's having. The words he shares resonate not only with the group, but also with himself. He recalls the lessons learned during his time in the military, the bonds forged through understanding and camaraderie amidst chaos. It dawns on him that this moment, though seemingly small, holds the potential for significant change for both him and those around him. The atmosphere in the alley continues to evolve, guided by vulnerability and honesty. Jake feels a sense of purpose, knowing that he has the power to influence these young lives positively. As they stand together, the shadows of the alley no longer feel menacing. Instead, they become a backdrop for growth and understanding. But as the conversation unfolds, the reality of their surroundings remains. The city continues its rhythmic pulse outside the alley, indifferent to the transformation taking place within. The moment is fragile, and Jake understands that they must seize it before it slips away. "Let's walk away from this together," Jake proposes, a sense of urgency in his voice. "We can choose a different path. I'll walk with you if you want." His offer hangs in the air, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. The group looks at one another, the weight of their choices pressing down on them. In this pivotal moment, they stand on the precipice of change, their futures intertwined in a way they never anticipated. As they begin to nod, slowly at first, the tension that once filled the alley dissipates entirely. What began as an encounter fraught with aggression transforms into a moment of shared understanding and mutual respect. The shadows that once threatened them now recede, leaving behind the light of possibility. In this unexpected twist, the alley becomes a testament to the power of communication, empathy, and the courage it takes to steer away from violence. As Jake and the group begin to walk away together, the night air feels lighter, filled with the promise of new beginnings. Stay with us as we further explore the aftermath of this confrontation, how it shapes Jake's journey, the impact on the group, and the lessons learned that extend far beyond the alley. The story is not just about a singular event, but about the ripples it creates in the lives of those involved, reminding us all of the strength found in compassion and the choices that define us. As Jake and the group step away from the alley, the atmosphere shifts dramatically. What had once been a place of potential violence and confrontation is now imbued with a sense of hope and possibility. The city lights flicker above them, casting a warm glow that feels almost symbolic of the change brewing within each individual. They walk side by side, no longer adversaries, but rather a collective navigating the complexities of their own realities. In that quiet moment, Jake takes the lead, his heart racing not from fear, but from the exhilaration of fostering understanding. "You know," he starts, breaking the silence, "we all face moments where we question who we are and what we stand for. It's part of being human." His voice carries a soothing quality, inviting the others to reflect on their own experiences. Tony, who initially held onto his bravado like a lifeline, finds himself grappling with a newfound vulnerability. "I guess I always thought that if I acted tough, people would respect me," he admits, a hint of shame lacing his words. but I see now that maybe that's not how it works. The honesty in his voice is refreshing, and it marks a critical turning point for him. He's beginning to understand that respect is built on the foundation of genuine connection, not fear. Respect comes from who you are on the inside, not just how you present yourself, Jake replies, nodding in agreement. It's about being true to yourself and treating others with kindness. There's a gravity to Jake's words, a wisdom that resonates with the group. They are at a pivotal moment, each grappling with the weight of their choices and the potential for change. As they walk, Marcus, who had been the quiet observer, finally finds his voice. I've always been the one to go along with whatever Tony said, he reflects, a hint of regret in his tone. But I never really stopped to think about what I wanted. I think I've been scared to stand out. There's a sincerity in his admission that invites introspection among the group. It's a moment of realization that many often follow the crowd, sacrificing their own desires for the sake of acceptance. Lily, encouraged by Marcus's honesty, chimes in. I felt that pressure too, she says, her voice clearer and more confident. I wanted to fit in, to be seen as too. Ugh. But in doing so, I lost sight of who I really am. Her vulnerability opens the door for the others to share their own struggles, creating an atmosphere of trust that binds them together. Jake feels a surge of camaraderie as he listens to their reflections. These young individuals, once poised to engage in a physical confrontation, are now embarking on a journey of self-discovery. He recognizes the power of vulnerability and how it can dismantle the walls that separate people. In this moment, he realizes that they are all more alike than they had previously thought. As they continue walking, Jake shares his own experiences, recounting moments during his service when he faced challenges that tested his resolve. In the military, we learned that true strength lies in vulnerability, he shares. It's not about being invincible. It's about knowing when to ask for help and when to lean on others. His words resonate deeply, offering a perspective that many in the group had not considered. The group begins to engage more openly, sharing their dreams, aspirations, and the pressures they face in their everyday lives. Tony reveals his passion for art, something he had kept hidden beneath layers of bravado. I've always wanted to paint, but I thought my friends would think it was lame, he admits. His confession is a liberating moment, allowing the others to see a different side of him, a side that craves creativity and expression rather than conflict. Marcus, emboldened by the conversation, shares his own ambition of pursuing sports. I've always loved basketball, he says, his eyes lighting up, but I never thought I could make a career out of it. I've let fear hold me back. The atmosphere grows more vibrant as they start to dream aloud, shedding the weight of expectations that had previously confined them. Lily, inspired by her friend's revelations, speaks about her love for writing. I've always found solace in words, she confesses, but I've been too afraid to share my stories. I wanted to be seen as tough, but what if I could be brave in a different way? Her insight is profound, and the group rallies around her, encouraging her to embrace her passion. As they engage in this newfound dialogue, Jake feels a sense of fulfillment wash over him. Each story shared, each vulnerability exposed, serves as a reminder of the strength that lies in connection. The alley may have been a battleground only moments ago, but now it has transformed into a space of healing and growth. They eventually reach a small park, the city's skyline glowing in the distance. The peacefulness of the moment contrasts sharply with the chaos they had just emerged from. Sitting on a bench, they take a moment to breathe, allowing the weight of the evening to settle into something lighter. Jake looks around, feeling proud of the journey they've taken together. You've all shown incredible courage tonight, he acknowledges, his voice filled with warmth. It's not easy to confront our fears and let others see us for who we truly are. But what matters is that you've taken the first step. The group exchanges glances, a newfound respect and kinship emerging among them. In this moment of shared vulnerability, they recognize the power of choice, the choice to rise above their circumstances, to redefine who they are, and to forge connections that transcend superficial bravado. What do we do now? Tony asks, a hint of uncertainty lingering in his voice. How do we move forward from here? Jake smiles, sensing the opportunity for continued growth. Start by being true to yourselves, he suggests. Challenge each other to pursue your passions and support one another. It's easy to get caught up in what others expect of you, but true fulfillment comes from listening to your heart. The group nods in agreement, their expressions shifting from uncertainty to determination. They have discovered a powerful truth, that they are not alone in their struggles, and the journey ahead will be one of collective empowerment. As the night deepens, they share a sense of purpose, each committed to embracing their individuality while supporting one another. They stand together, ready to step into the future, fortified by the lessons learned in the alley, a moment that had the potential to spiral into chaos, but instead became a catalyst for change. The city lights flicker like stars, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope. With each step they take away from the park, they carry with them the understanding that they have the power to shape their lives, to forge their paths, and to embrace the strength found in vulnerability. In this journey, they each become catalysts of change, not only for themselves, but also for those around them. They realize that the choices they make in the coming days will ripple outwards, impacting their communities and inspiring others to seek understanding over conflict. As they walk away from the park, the weight of the evening's events lingers, but it is now a weight of purpose, a shared commitment to be better, to strive for authenticity, and to stand firm against the pressures of conformity. And so, the story continues, not just for Jake and the group, but for all of us. It serves as a reminder that within every confrontation lies the potential for connection, understanding, and transformation. We each have the power to choose the path we take, to embrace our true selves, and to uplift those around us. In the end, it is the choices we make that define us, and the connections we forge that lead us toward a brighter future. Stay tuned as we follow Jake and his newfound friends on their journey, exploring how their lives evolve and the lessons they learn along the way. The power of resilience, courage, and empathy can change lives, and this story is just beginning.